Gentlemen, the meeting we're having now is of most importance. Germany has never been weaker. Now is the time to act. We must strike. First, Churchill.
It is of utmost importance that we break out of Normandy to set the chain of events in effect.
Yes. After doing this, we must get into France and provide assistance to help liberate it.
It was in December 16th of 1944 that after breaking out of Normandy and freeing France, the Allied powers' next mission was to conquer Germany. But in order to do this, they had to slow the German army's advances and get to Berlin. So what they did was capture the town of Bastogne. This was crucial because this is where many important roads converged. Eisenhower, along with his troops, did capture the town, but the Germans shortly afterwards surrounded it. So Eisenhower had General Patton's platoon come to rescue them, and they arrived 3 days later. They broke through the German line and captured Bastogne. This was known as the Battle of Bulge, and it lasted for 3 weeks.
Stalin, as you can see from the reports, our troops are about 70 miles away from Berlin in Rhine River.
Хорошо. Mine are the Oder River, 35 miles from Berlin. My troops will come from the east. Through Russia will push the Germans back to Berlin.
All right, the chain of events has been set, gentlemen.
It was in April of 1945 that the Soviet Union and the Americans had worked together to conquer Germany. What the Allied forces did was surround Berlin with the Russians coming from the east and the Americans coming from the west. Then it was on May 7th, 1945 that the Germans had surrendered. May 8th, 1945 was proclaimed as VE Day, Victory in Europe.
Gentlemen, reports say that my troops are stationed on Mariana Island with their B-29s. It appears that every shot we try to make at Japan is failing. We're about 1,500 miles away from the coast, and the only way we can make a good shot is if we capture Iwo Jima.
But how can we do this? It's owned by Japan.
And the land is ruthless and rugged.
That will be massive, massive casualties.
Now, gentlemen, I'm not proposing that this is going to be an easy task. I know there will be many casualties, but it must be accomplished. If we are to stop the Axis powers, we must accomplish this goal.
It was during November 24 of 1944 that the Americans were bombing Tokyo, Japan. Their B-29 airplanes were stationed in Mariana Island, 1,500 miles off the coast of Japan. The problem was that the B-29s kept on missing their target of Tokyo and lost fuel in the process. In order to refuel, the Americans had to settle on a nearby island, so they had to capture Iwo Jima. This was no easy task, for it was on Japanese territory, and it had rugged and rocky cliffs, jagged ravines, and rough terrain. They did capture Iwo Jima in February 19th of 1945, but in doing so had 6,800 Marine casualties.
There was a man. What was his name? Curtis LeMay. He filled the bombs with this explosive.
It was napalm.
Yes.
It had a jelly gasoline in it. It started fires and it exploded.
With these napalm-filled bombs, the firebombing had devastated Japan. The attack came on March 9th of 1945. Even if the bombs did miss the target, it started fires quickly and sucked the oxygen from the air. This killed 80,000 people and destroyed 250,000 buildings. On April 12th of 1945, President Franklin D. Roosevelt had died of stroke in Warm Springs, Georgia, on vacation. His Vice President Harry S. Truman became the new president and had made the final decisions on the end of the war.
Gentlemen, it is known that Japan will not surrender unless we invade first. So, it is crucial that we take over Okinawa.
And from there, we can build up our troops.
And if from that point on we do not receive an unconditional surrender, then
We'll attack.
it's settled then.
Yes.
The Americans had landed on Okinawa on April 1st of 1945. In fighting up the steep mountain, 12,000 Americans had died, but captured it on June 22nd of 1945.
Gentlemen, what I'm about to tell you must not leave this room. Two of our most brilliant scientists, Albert Einstein and Leo Szilard, have discovered the destructive capabilities of splitting uranium atoms. So far, we have started a research project titled the Manhattan Project. It's being held in Alamo Gordo, New Mexico. The project has been set in place so we could create the world's first atomic bomb. Now, I know many of you are asking what exactly an atomic bomb is. Gentlemen, I want you to imagine a weapon with the destructive capabilities of millions of tons of TNT. Now, the head of the project is being run by General Leslie R. Groves. A detonation test is set for June 16th. Any questions?
This atom bomb, what is it for?
I'm glad you asked.